Alrighty, I think this is working now finally. For some reason, whenever I do these on Patreon, there's always some sort of technical difficulties, which is always very frustrating. But I think everything is alright for the moment. But no one's here. This is the best part, when you just get to talk to yourself. So, just look at my cat, go on the grams, you know, all the good stuff. Anybody here? No. Ah, there we go. Hello, hello. How are you on this fine Saturday, well, afternoon for me, but I believe it's evening for you? Think you're in Europe? I'm just trying to enjoy my coffee and get some energy for the day because it's always long. Wonder if any of the other patrons will join us. Time to find out. Ooh, 10 p.m. Okay, yeah. On a Saturday night, too. Probably more interesting things that one could be doing. Do you have any other plans, or are you just going to hang out with me for the next hour? All right, well, I guess it's just you and me. So you have you have a couple of choices. We can either open this up to all the other patrons, or oh, there's another one. All right, cool. I was gonna say, because sometimes when it's just like one of us, one person, it's there's a lot of just kind of sitting there and talking to yourself. So I usually, when it's just one or two people, give them the option to open it up to the other patrons, or you know, you can just sit here for the next hour drinking wine and coffee and talking about whatever it is you want to talk about. This is your time. Yeah, it's just noon now, so day's just kind of getting started, but it always goes like way too fast, you know? All right, well, I'll let you guys decide on that. If Elodia also wants to open it up, we can totally do it. It's totally cool with me. Okie dokie. And here we go. Post, new post, live stream, YouTube Live, schedule publish now, patrons only, because this is only for patrons. Let's see here. Patron live stream. Now. Hey all. The two supporters have offered to open up the chat to all of you if you want to join. We're here for the next hour. Come say hello. All right. Boom and boom. I don't know how I felt about the second season of Stranger Things. I don't know, like, it had better production value because the first season had like really, really bad special effects. But there was just some sort of, I don't know, there was like there's something about the first season that I thought was way better. The second season didn't like capture me as much, but sometimes it just is that way. Like I couldn't even finish the second season of Westworld, and I don't know why. I mean, it was good, it was fine, but I just wasn't as, I don't know, just wasn't as compelled to watch it, I guess, as I was the first one. I just finished Chernobyl, though, and that was pretty crazy. Like, my whole group of friends just were losing their minds over Chernobyl. So my wife and I decided to watch it, and you know, you just spend like all 5 episodes screaming internally like, oh my god, how could this have ever actually happened? It's, oh man, it's so wild. But now I actually think we're caught up on everything that we want to watch. So there's yeah, we're not really sure where to go next, but I guess we're kind of busy, so we barely have time to watch shows anymore. Hello, Luna. Welcome. Thank Elodia and Blee for opening this up and inviting you to the chat. Everybody's telling me that I need to watch. What is it? Kilkenny and what's the one? I keep wanting to say Archer, but that's a cartoon. It's not that one. It's on HBO as well, and it's like a. I always see the big billboards all over LA, and fuck, it's gonna drive me crazy. HBOnow.com. It's got to be like at the landing page, right? Everybody just goes apeshit for series. Come on. Barry. It's called Barry. I have no idea what it's about, but everybody says I gotta watch it, so. Yeah, see, I watched Handmaid's Tale the first season, and I really, really enjoyed it, but then, like, the second season premiered, and all of my friends talked about, like, how absolutely brutal it was, and I don't know, like, I don't know how much, like, brutality I can really, like, handle when I'm trying to relax at the end of a long day, you know? So, this is kind of why I gave up on Walking Dead. It just, like, it stopped being an interesting drama and just became, like, I don't know, just Like, hey, let's slit people's throats and eat them, and hey, let's beat people's brains out or their eyeballs out with the baseball bat. And I was just like, this is not stuff I'm gonna enjoy relaxing to. It's like you you need emotional fortitude to get through some of these things, and I'm just kind of like, no, no, not when I'm trying to relax. I have no idea what to chat about because I'm a boring person. I doubt that. I think I think actually the quietest people are usually the ones that are the most sort of thoughtful, but they just don't want to say what it is that they're thinking. So sometimes you just gotta say stuff, say something, anything. Doesn't really matter. Hello, Joe. Uh, I hope you're okay with the fact that Elodia and Blee decided to open this up to the other patrons to get the conversation moving a little bit more fluidly. Hope that's okay. Hello, Kay. Yes, everyone, please thank Elodia and Blee for opening it up. They're very, very kind. So, I'm still sort of on the fence of whether or not I'm excited about the third season of Stranger Things, just given how not terribly interested I was in the second one. You know, now they're beginning to promote Westworld season 3, and I'm just kind of like, uh, given like how badly Game of Thrones ended, I just don't know if I have the time or energy to invest in stuff where you're just gonna be let down in the end, right? You're just like, Game of Thrones is like 80 something hours, and it's like a week of your life. It's fucking crazy. So, um, yeah, I don't know if I want to invest in another series just to have my heart broken. Ugh. But if you all have any other recommendations, I obviously will keep an open mind. I was trying to think of movies that I should go see, and can't think of anything that's worth like paying $40 to go to the movies and see. Like I like watching series and I like going to the movies, but it's just such a hassle. It's so much time. I've never seen a single episode of Game of Thrones. I think that's fine. That totally makes sense. I mean, I know somebody that didn't watch it just on the premise that they didn't like swords and they thought swords were stupid and they wouldn't watch anything that contained them. So I mean, if that's not your thing, I can totally understand why you wouldn't want to watch it. Thought it was really good for the first couple of seasons, maybe first 3 or 4, and then it got kind of just really lackluster and convoluted and uninteresting. And then it got really interesting towards the end, and then the final 2 seasons were just terrible. And the last episode was just I just was looking at the TV with my jaw open, like, this is they really did this. What an absolute waste of money and resources and time and ugh. Yeah, a lot of people keep saying to watch Lucifer, but there's like a lot of seasons to catch up on, right? Like, Yeah, what, 5 seasons? Jesus. I don't know, man. Where is Mara? Mara is on the other side of the computer. She's actually usually quite camera shy, and because of her pattern, like it's always weird. Like cameras have trouble like actually seeing her. I mean, they see her, but they can't like focus. It's really really weird. Sorry for my English. I'm usually better at it. I'm just kind of drunk. I find that when I'm trying to speak a foreign language, I'm actually much better when I'm drunk because I stop worrying about whether or not it's correct, and then it just kind of comes out like a waterfall, and it's probably worse, but there's more fluidity to it because you're not sitting there worrying about whether or not you're making mistakes and whether or not you sound stupid. You're just like, I don't care. I'm gonna talk. Doesn't matter. Binge watch to catch up. I don't have time to binge watch anything. It's like I'm lucky if I get an hour, two at the end of the night to watch something. It's like the other night we watched 2 or 3 episodes of Chernobyl in a row, and we were both just kind of like, "This is crazy that we took this much time to watch something. It was something we haven't done in ages." Yeah, I literally found out about aesthetic perfection because of the Gods and Gold video, and then I became kind of obsessed. So I watched all the previous live streams. Wow, that's crazy actually. So you saw the video, and then you became one of the biggest supporters on Patreon. Just because of that, I'm kind of shocked, but that's pretty cool. I feel like people, I don't know, like there was something kind of special about that, right? And I think everybody that worked on that video and worked on that song kind of had the feeling that there was something special about it, and that we were all working on something really really cool. And I wasn't sure what people were going to think when it came out. I was actually kind of worried because uh, most of my music doesn't really have guitars, and it's just a different kind of song. So I had no idea what to expect, and I was a bit nervous. But the response has been awesome, and I guess the streams and the YouTube hits all sort of confirm what we suspected, that it was something special, and I'm really really happy about that. And I'm really happy that it's kind of like bringing new people into the Imperfect Society and the Aesthetic Perfection family at large. It's really really cool to see that, to see it grow because of one song. And I really hope that there's more of these in the future. At least you started Chernobyl. No, I finished Chernobyl. I got through that one. It was only 5 episodes. That's the perfect way to do it, I think, because my problem with all of these series is that they just want to sort of milk it for as long as they can, and then at some point, like, the quality suffers for it because it stops being about the story and more about just kind of like continuing it for the sake of ratings. And like, you know, Dexter was great, but it should have ended like 2 or 3 seasons before it did. Walking Dead was great, and it should not. It should have ended ages ago. Um, I like the idea of a mini series where they like they know when it's going to end and how it's going to end, and it just feels like a much more sort of cohesive piece of work, right? Because it's like they know where it's going to start and they know where it's going to end, and no matter how popular it is, it has to end. And I thought that was really cool with Chernobyl. Uh, Deutschland 83 or Deutschland 83 was also kind of like that. Just like 8-episode miniseries, just kind of telling this story, this great spy story, and then it ends. It was fantastic. So I wish more shows would do stuff like that. But I mean, I get it from like, the point of view of somebody like in Netflix or HBO. It's just like you want the ratings, you want the money. So why end it? But it's at some point the business and the art become at odds with one another, and you have to find like a balance, and you have to know when to stop. And most of the time they don't. Oh, binge listening to Aesthetic Perfection today. Started with vinyl, Till Death and Into the Black, then CDs, starting with All Beauty Destroyed. Wow, that is pretty cool. I need to actually get a record player. I don't have one. So I've been meaning to kind of like try to reconnect with, the act of actively listening to music, because, now I'm getting really into creating music in a hands-on sort of way. I mean, not just like clicking and looking at screens and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, I feel like streaming is both a blessing and a curse, in the sense that you have everything at your fingertips, but you have it all the time and at every moment. And so you become a little bit schizophrenic with what you listen to, and often music becomes sort of like background noise as opposed to something that you're actively enjoying. And I think for me, it's kind of gotten to the point where the only time that I'm really like listening to music is when I'm driving. Otherwise, it's just, it's on while I'm doing emails or, whatever sort of like mundane day-to-day tasks I have to do. So it's something I want to start doing more of, and I feel like if I get a record player and I get some vinyl, I can kind of reconnect with that. Oh, I want to listen to this right now, so I got to drop what I'm doing, and I gotta get the record and take it out of its sleeve and make sure that it's clean, and then put it on the player and get the needle correct. It's like it becomes something that's ritualized, and also, you're a participant in it instead of it just kind of like happening. I guess I don't know if that's kind of crazy to think of it that way, but whatever. That's how I think of it, no matter what. So I think that it's really cool that people are doing that with my music, and I was really worried about the vinyls because they were so goddamn expensive to produce. I was like, is anybody going to buy these? Is anybody going to listen to this? It's just so friggin' expensive. So it really does mean the world to me that people not only are buying it, but listening to it, right? That's great. Hey Daniel, Grüße aus Wolfenbüttel. Okay. Grüße zurück aus Los Angeles. First, I liked your characters, Black Hat and White Hat, and then I liked the music, and then your singing. But I think what really made me become your patron is the song All Beauty Destroyed. Well, that's great. That's cool. Because, you know, when that came out, nobody really cared. And it's nice to see that, you know, after all these years, it's something that people have kind of found their way to and connected with, and it's great because, you know, with how poorly that album did, it just destroyed my self confidence and made me consider quitting music and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's really, really awesome and humbling to hear that it wasn't as tragic as I thought it was back in 2011. What do you like to listen to while driving? I mean, I listen to so many different things like all the time. Like, some of my favorite bands right now, it's like, okay, what's here? Arizona, Bring Me the Horizon, Architects, Under Oath. Been listening to a lot of Manson lately. Burns, Greta Van Fleet, Royal Blood, Marshmello. Trevor Something, Marina and the Diamonds, or Marina now. The new Rammstein. Oh, yeah, Purity Ring, but I haven't listened to them in a while. Yeah, Elohim, Paris. I mean, it's just like everything from metal to pop to classic rock. I'm a huge Led Zeppelin fan, huge Queen fan. Yeah, I try to keep it as eclectic as possible. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the deluxe edition of Into the Black. I'm hoping to have some information on that in the next week or two. I've just about solidified the final track list. Um, I'm really, really excited about it because I think, actually, most of all, I'm really excited to get a couple of those B-sides in there because I felt like Dark Ages and Weaponized really belonged on there, but 12 songs was too much for an album. Like, I think that an album needs to be 10 songs or less, and so I always work within that framework. But Dark Ages really needed to be on there, and so did Weaponized. So I'm glad that those will kind of see a wider release. And then I'm gonna put on the second disc all of the singles that I put out since 2015, because so many people were asking if they could get them on CD. It's, you know, and it just didn't ever make sense to make CD singles because it's just a waste of money. Nobody buys them. But to finally kind of get all that out and on one release, I think is going to make it something special. So, and we're going to have alternate and cover art and all this kind of stuff. Make it super cool. Hey Daniel, any news with the Toronto show? Coalition apparently has closed. Yes, that's true. Coalition has closed, but don't worry. The show is like all the tickets that you buy are not through the venue; they're through the promoter himself. So Darker Side of Light. So he's actively waiting for either Coalition to open up a new location, or if worse comes to worse, we'll just move it to somewhere else. However, any tickets that you may have purchased will be honored. So don't worry about it. The show is going to go on as planned. It will probably be in another venue, but it's going to happen nonetheless. So no need to worry. Crash Team Racing came out for PS4 yesterday, remastered, so it made me think, what do you think of remastering stuff such as games and music? I don't really I'm not a gamer, so I don't really understand what it means to remaster a game. Uh, like, the only games that I really play right now actively are like either FIFA or Mortal Kombat or Call of Duty, but I only do that like once or twice a week when I have, 10 or 15 minutes, and I just do it to turn off my brain. Um, but the games from my youth that I liked playing were just, Super Mario Brothers and Mega Man, and there's really nothing else that I would ever go back to. And I still play those from time to time, but they seem exactly the same as they were when I was a kid, so I don't know if they've been remastered. With music, I think it's more or less kind of pointless to remaster stuff because if you're just working with the original mixes, mastering isn't going to make that much of a difference unless the mastering engineer just totally did a terrible job. I think, for example, the remaster of Pretty Hate Machine is pretty awful. It's just totally. I mean, I like compressed music, but that album wasn't mixed with a modern sort of technique. So trying to master it in a modern way just kind of wrecks it. Um, Same actually with Depeche Mode's Violator. It just doesn't sound right. So I'm much more in favor of remixing. So like mixing it again and updating it if you want to. So like what I did with Blood Spills, I think that's more interesting. So yeah. I saw the post with hate reviews, but I really love the album I'll Be Destroyed, and I love Ebb and Flow. The song is wonderful, and the video is just pure aesthetics. Thank you. I mean, I don't worry too much about those things like I used to. Like, it used to really kind of bother me, and now I just, I've gotten older and wiser, I guess. So I just sort of accept things as they are, and, I've learned to be much more confident and accepting of like, it's like I don't need outside validation to know that I'm happy with the things that I've created. Like, I'm proud of Ebb and Flow, and if other people don't like it, that's okay. Like, that's fine. I think it's a cool song. It didn't connect with people in the way that I thought it might. Okay. Maybe there's going to be something else. Like, there's this great interview with Billy Corgan where he talks about how, artists will have this sort of ebb and flow in their career. It goes up, it goes down, but as long as you're sort of creating with the same kind of passion and genuine drive as you were from the beginning, that at some point, whatever it is that you're doing will reconnect with the zeitgeist, and I feel like that's happening kind of now, because we have that moment where we connected with a violent emotion. Here we connected with everybody, and then I moved in one direction with All Beauty Destroyed, and the world continued on in a different way, and they didn't like where I was going. It's like I did Till Death, and it was something that people kind of liked, but now it almost feels like we're coming back again to reconnect with people with Into the Black. So it's exciting. So I'm just going to ride the wave as long as I can, and I know that probably the next great idea that I have for the future won't necessarily be something that resonates with everybody, but that's okay, because I'm just an artist and I'm doing my best, and I have great supporters who love what I do no matter if I'm super popular or not popular at all. So I can just continue being me and not worry too much about what the world thinks. I would love to see Under Oath. I think, what's his name, Spencer? That dude is just a gnarly singer. He's just so good. I love the new record. I love how it's like rock and and pop, and it's like all the electronic elements are great, and his singing is great, and I love the sort of kind of chaotic industrial elements. I don't know, it's amazing. Have you ever tried God of War? I've watched my friend, I've watched a friend of mine play it, but it's storyline based, right? So I don't play any games that have stories simply because it's a time sink for me. Like there are other things that I would rather be doing than playing games with a narrative. Like for me, a video game is just something. It's like a phone game, right? It's like what do you use? What is a phone game like? It's just got small little either levels or rounds or something that's like you can pick up and either play for 5 minutes or 40 minutes, and that's the way that I kind of view gaming. For me, it's like if I feel like I just need a couple of minutes to switch my brain off and play, well, I can play as long as short as I want, and that won't affect anything. I'm not like trying to get to a save point or unravel some mystery within the narrative. Um, it's it's not about that for me. So I get that a lot of people are really into it, and that's totally cool. But I kind of come to realize that I don't really care about gaming, and it's just something I do for fun every now and then. Have you watched the series Gotham? I have not watched the series Gotham. Yeah, I like I'm not super into comic book stuff, so it never really seemed particularly interesting to me. And given the fact that I don't have a whole lot of time, I just kind of have to be kind of choosy with the shows that I watch. Like everybody tells me that I need to watch Parks and Rec. I've never seen an episode of it ever, um, and it's like given how many seasons there are, it's like I can't go back and watch that. I don't have time. Um, so yeah, that's that. What Batman character do you find yourself as? Uh, I don't. I don't know if I ever related to any characters in comic books. That's kind of the thing for me. Uh, I tried getting into comics when I was young, but it just didn't. It just didn't click. Cause like music was really the only thing that made me. I don't know. Stirred that thing inside of me, I guess. So uh, I like the. I think the original or the 1989 Batman movie is probably the best Batman ever. But as someone who doesn't really isn't let's say invested in the franchise, I wouldn't trust my opinion on anything relating to that. I'm 22 and I'm not mature enough, but I also don't have enough social skills. So I think I'm stuck with you as a colossal squid. Um, well, 22 is pretty young, and it takes time to kind of be comfortable with yourself and who you are. I mean, I'm 36, so I didn't really stop giving a shit about what people thought until my 30s. So you've got a little bit of ways to go. Hopefully, you can not be stuck with that self doubt for as long as I was. But it's something that you get over. You kind of gain more confidence as you become more comfortable with who you are. Um, but I think that's really important to like actively do. And social skills is it's just that it's a skill. It's something you can learn. The whole idea of oh, some people are naturally uh, social, and you know that means if I'm not that way, then I can never be. No, there's this great YouTube channel called Charisma on Command. If you want to like just kind of learn the skills of socializing, you should totally watch it, because I'm not really good at socializing either. Uh, I'm always kind of feel on the spot when I'm in social situations, and I don't feel like I'm very good at them. So I watch all of those things to try to get better, or at least find tricks to avoid really awkward silences and stuff like that. So yeah. I wonder where Katie is. I wanted to meet her because I'm also a fan of Ghost. Katie is in Northern California. She's a teacher, and sometimes she just doesn't have the opportunity to make it to these live streams. But she always watches them afterwards. So if you want to get to know her, though, you should follow her on Instagram or connect with her through Patreon. She's a total sweetheart. She's totally awesome. I think you guys would get on great, especially if you like Ghost. Now, do you prefer Austrian or Californian wine, or something totally different? I try not to be super picky, because I think that a lot of these different wine regions have a lot of different great things to offer. So, if I was just to say, oh, I only like Californian wine, or oh, I only like Austrian wine, I would be missing out on so many awesome things. The thing that I actually think is really, really strange is in, like, I don't know if it's like this in the rest of Europe, but in the German-speaking world, everybody just kind of sticks to the beer that's in their region. So it's like whatever brewery is closest to where you live, that's what you drink from the moment you start drinking until the moment you die. And I think that that's so weird, because you're missing out on so many different great kinds of beer. So it's like, even if you're in Salzburg and you grew up drinking Stiegel, well, there's a lot of other great beers to try, and that doesn't diminish how good Stiegel is. So I think that almost every wine region has something to offer, and if you haven't kind of unlocked it yet, well, maybe you just need to find the wine that's your Rosetta Stone. I have had trouble sort of unlocking Italian wine. I usually find it far too heavy and has way too many tannins. But my friend Marco, who's from Italy, from Rome actually, he lives in London, and he brought me a really nice bottle of Italian wine. I forgot what it was, but it was amazing. And I was like, okay, if I can find other Italian wines that taste like this, I can kind of adjust my palate to the way that their stuff tastes. So yeah. Daniel, did your family see the video for No Boys Allowed, and how did they react? Well, my stepfather is no longer married to my mom, so he lives somewhere else and is remarried and doing God knows what. So I actually have no idea if he ever saw it. Kind of want him to see it, because I think it would make him really, really mad. Probably hate me even more than he already does. But my mom has been super supportive. I was actually kind of worried that, I was actually a bit worried that, when this album came out and I started talking a lot about my childhood experiences, that it might hurt her or upset her, because, obviously she's my mom, so she feels a bit maybe guilty for being married to that guy, or having, the fact, I've been talking about my grandmother and the sort of evangelical Christian stuff that I went through. And, I was worried that it would make her upset or feel really guilty. But she's been really supportive, and she's just like, you should talk about these things. You have this platform to help people, or at least kind of like share your story, so people who are going through stuff that's similar don't feel alone. And it's great, because is I haven't talked about this stuff really at all, and finally kind of talking about it now helps me come to terms with it because I never really understood how much it impacted me or, uh, fucked me up, I guess, for a lack of better words. Uh, but it's kind of cool to finally work through this and have her support and makes it a lot easier. Hello from Dresden. Hello from Los Angeles. All right. uh, I need liquid courage to actually talk to someone, even on the internet, so that's why I'm drunk. Well, I totally understand. Uh, but I think it's something that you can learn how to do. And I actually still prefer drinking for social situations, but becomes less and less necessary the more you kind of perfect your skills of being sociable. Like, I'm sober. I'm just drinking caffeine right now. How long have you been doing collaborations with Nyx? How it all started? I haven't done any collaborations with her since Voodoo. She's working on her album on her own. But I met her just because she sent me a blind email. She was like, "Hey, I'm looking for a producer. Are you interested?" And I listened to her demos, and I thought that they were great and had a lot of potential. So we made a couple of tracks together and went on tour, and it was cool. Something new about the Scandinavian tour. Unfortunately, I don't have any new news about that. It's becoming increasingly difficult to get shows there. Like, yeah, it's. I'll just say it's tough. I've sent so many emails and prodded so many people that I know up there, and it's just getting more difficult. And because promoters uh, are losing money on almost every show, they just don't want to take the risk anymore. It sucks. So actually, after this, I'm gonna make a post on Facebook talking about the importance of pre-sale tickets and how it can really kind of determine the trajectory of an artist's career. So maybe check that out, get involved in the discussion, and buy pre-sale tickets. I'm no wine snob. Maybe I need to know more, but I'm happiest with any Moscato, White Zinfandel, or late harvest Riesling. Um, yeah, I mean, I was never really super into white wines until just recently. Like, I kind of started getting into them. I was always a red wine kind of guy, but I like Sauv Blanc. I like Chenin Blanc. Pinot Grigio is cool. I don't like sweet wines. I typically like them to. I like my red wines to be really weird and kind of funky. So like a Carmenere, or super light like a Pinot Noir or a Beaujolais. Those are my favorites. I know your wife supports you big time, but does she go out with you on your tours, or how does she feel about it? um, my wife has been my biggest supporter ever since the beginning, really. I mean, 2005, 2006 is it's about the time we met, and nobody really gave a shit about me or what I did, but she cared about me and supported me, and that was really awesome. Um, you know, she's got her own career. She's pretty pretty amazing scientist and does a lot of amazing work. And so she's unfortunately unable to come out with me on the road all the time, which is obviously tough because you spend extended periods of time away from one another. But I think like every relationship has its own difficulties, and I feel like those are the sort of worst things that we have to deal with is being away from one another as opposed to, like, I don't know, hating each other or whatever. I'll take it. Do you have a VK page? Yes, I do, but I don't really use it very often. I can't even remember the last time I signed into VK. But that's me. So it is you. Yes, that is me. Have you played around with your new synth and your effects? No, unfortunately not. What annoys me about this new synth is that, like, all of the modulation routings are done by patch cables, and it didn't come with any patch cables. So I actually have to go today somewhere and buy more cables. So, yeah. I mean, I've hooked up a lot of the guitar pedals and stuff, and I've been making a lot of weird sort of noises with those, but I haven't plugged in the synth yet. So that's the plan next. Okay, we got 5 more minutes, and then I gotta go buy. Well, I gotta go buy cables, and I gotta go get new glasses, and other Saturday errands. All right. So, what field of science is your wife in? She got her PhD in cellular biology, and she's going to be moving into the private sector soon. Dark Ages is amazing. It's so different, but so cool. Yeah. Uh, Dark Ages is the one that makes everybody go, "What the fuck?" But I thought it was kind of funny. I don't know. I always try to inject a bit of humor into everything, even if you take it seriously. Like, you got to find some sort of humor in yourself, and I'm all about, like, absurdist stuff, and I felt like that was really absurd. And but everybody that I talked to was like, "No, you can't put that song on the album. It's ridiculous. It's not good," and blah blah blah. But I still loved it. I still think that they were right that it wasn't something that belonged on the initial release, but I think it definitely belongs on the deluxe version for sure. You're just as nice and kind as I thought you would be. Well, thank you. You can thank my mom for that. She's always raised me to be nice and polite and give a shit about other people. I think that's really important to always be nice, always be polite, because it really doesn't cost you anything to do so. And if you're an asshole, then you just make other people unhappy, and then you just start the sort of chain reaction of misery, which is shitty. It's a shitty thing to do. Can you dance industrial? This is a funny question. I don't dance at all, ever. I tried a couple of times at the club when I was in my 20s. Not happening. I don't really enjoy it, and I'm not very good at it, so I think it's probably best that I don't. Can you give us a hint on what's to come to the store? I'm working on something big, and uh, I think that it's going to make a big difference in my store in terms of the quality of the merchandise that I make, the amount of merchandise that I can make, the turnaround and the fulfillment, and hopefully, fingers crossed, really, really desperately hoping for this, a European store. Still can't promise anything, but I'm working hard on it. So, yeah. Any plans to do one of those worst of bar hop things? They were great. Uh, I am actively trying to get it made into a TV show. Uh, that is so fucking far off into the future or whatever, but it's something that I've been working on for a long time and hope that it turns into reality. So don't worry, I haven't forgot about that. I'm still working on it behind the scenes. Hopefully, there will be some news to come. Because I have the opportunity to say this, I love the new album. Thank you. If you come to Russia again, we can drink, always. And an EU store, that would be awesome. I agree. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you especially to the Colossal Squid supporters for agreeing to open this up and make this something that all of the patrons could take part in. And I want to let you guys know that I'm really, really thankful for all of your support over the years. New fans, old fans, all of your support really makes a big difference. And I really wouldn't be able to do this without any of you. So thank you all. And I will see you on Patreon. We'll talk soon.